Thank you for joining me today on episode 16 of Basics and Beyond, the podcast. We are going to dig into the idea of lagging feedback today. If you've not heard of lagging feedback, think of it like this. It's exactly the opposite of immediate feedback. Don't we all love immediate feedback? Haha. Today we're going to talk about why lagging feedback is so important and how we can learn to love lagging feedback and use it to our advantage. Come on in, take a seat, grab a cup of coffee. Let's have a conversation. Welcome, everybody. It is nice to have you back to the podcast. I appreciate you coming on and listening every other week as we explore different ideas and thoughts and theories out there around health and wellness, both mental and physical, of course, fitness, nutrition, all the things, hitting the basics, and of course, moving beyond the basics, which is why I chose the title of Basics and Beyond for the podcast. Makes sense, doesn't it? If you've been around, you know that. If you haven't been around, welcome. So happy to have you. So happy to have you. Today, we're going to talk about lagging feedback. And that is a really important concept that I think a lot of people know what it is and I know everyone has experienced it, but I'm not sure if everyone knows the term lagging feedback. So we're going to dig into that. And we're going to dig into the importance of understanding it and how we can use it to our benefit. So lagging feedback, what the heck am I talking about when I'm talking about lagging feedback? Well, if you're new to the podcast, you are a great example of lagging feedback. I've been doing this podcast there's a couple iterations of the podcast, right? It started out with my friend and colleague, Kenneth, from Foundry Training and Nutrition. And he and I did this podcast together. And I think we did, I don't know, maybe 40 episodes, something like that. I'm not sure. And then, you know how life happens, things change. And I've been doing the podcast. This is episode 16. I'm very, very excited that I get to continue to come and talk to you. So this podcast, in a couple of iterations, has been around well over a year, almost going into 2, which I'm super excited about. And you, if you're new, you're just joining us. So we've been around for a while. Some of us have been here the whole time, me in particular. However, if you're new to the podcast, you are a great example of lagging feedback. The objective of the podcast is to get information out there, help as many people as possible, and have as many people listen as possible. So share the podcast, but that's the point of the podcast, right? You have to listen to it. You have to watch it, whatever you're doing, to gain any type of support and help from it. The objective is to help and support as many people as possible. You coming to the podcast later than other people shows me that the effort I have put forth continuously over a certain period of time is now giving me feedback, is giving me what I want by having you as a new person or you as a returning person to either come on board and see us for the first time, or you keep returning. Okay. So lagging feedback is really the results that come later than we necessarily want them. Because aren't we all just a little impatient? Some of us more than others. In this world nowadays, impatience is a definite thing. And we want that immediate feedback. We all know what immediate feedback is, right? Instantaneous. You know, if our internet doesn't open up that window as fast as we want it to, man, we get pissed off, you know, or if the TV isn't working or we don't get, you know, that, oh my gosh, heaven forbid you don't get that return text in the time that you want it, right? So immediate feedback is in the moment right now. It comes quick and easy, and that's what we want. And that's what we're looking for. I mean, that is a huge dopamine hit. That's what we want. Makes us feel good. Whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, the feedback, it's still immediate, and that's what we want. Lagging feedback, on the other hand, is much more challenging because, like I said, lagging feedback lags in that time frame. It takes longer to get that feedback. And man, that is hard. That means we have to be extremely patient with our desires. It means we have to be extremely patient with other people and how they're responding. We just have to know when that lagging feedback is going to be much more challenging, because nowadays we're not as patient as we were before. What else does that mean? That also means that we have to figure out ways to overcome that impatience, to let it go, to learn how to be more patient, which is really challenging, or to find a way to help ourselves or to support ourselves in relaxing and waiting for that feedback to come and still move forward with whatever it is that we're doing. So even if we're waiting for that lagging feedback, even if it's taking a little longer for us to get some feedback, is there a way for us to continue to make progress and move forward with whatever it happens to be? And that is extremely important, because if we put everything out there and we just sit back and go, okay, I'm just going to wait till I get some information and then I'm going to move forward then. So I'm just going to hang out here for a while. Well, that's not very productive. Number one, it's not going to get you very far in whatever you're trying to do. Number two, and number three, it tends to build negative feelings like we're being lazy, no one's reaching out to us. Oh my gosh, what's wrong with people? How come they're not responding? And we kind of get that impatience loop going. So how do we in this world understand that lagging feedback is a thing? It's going to happen. It is something, even if we don't know that term for it, we have all experienced many times, and we can turn that experience into a negative experience. So how do we adjust and make that lagging feedback a positive thing for ourselves? There's one key way to do it. And the one key way we're going to focus on today is overcoming that impatience with lagging feedback happens when we learn to divorce ourselves from the outcome and marry ourselves to the process. Stated another way, you need to learn to enjoy the process, live in the moment, and not always be looking at that outcome and wondering why that outcome isn't happening faster. Because most of the great things that are going to happen to us don't happen to us in the moment. Most things that come to us that are fantastic and wonderful, we have worked toward for a long time. We've put in the effort. We've had the perseverance to continue to work towards that. And if we are working towards something, whatever goal that might be, let's take, for example, I had a client, still have a client, but one of my clients, Delane in particular, was her goal, one of her goals was to get a pull-up. I think that's a fantastic goal. Why wouldn't we want to get a pull-up? That's great. She really wanted to get a pull-up. So we worked together over time and got her that pull-up. She got that pull-up. I think it took probably about a year, which seems like a long time, but it's really not, because everybody starts in their own spot. Everybody moves through their process quickly or not quickly. Everybody has their own speed, right? So we started working on it and we continued to work on it. But did we, every single day that we worked on that, did we come to it and go, dang it, we got to get this pull up today. We got to get this pull up today. We have to get this. No, that was never in our thought process. It wasn't about getting that pull up in that day. It was about what are the steps we need to take today to get us closer to getting that pull up? Well, maybe we need to do our pull downs today. What do those look like? What are the steps that we have to take to get us closer to the goal? And that is the focus. That is what makes lagging feedback become less negative and more interesting as we move forward. Because then what we do is we focus on the daily things that we do. We focus on the process. We enjoy the time that we're doing it to whatever degree that means, without worrying about the outcome. Without worrying about the outcome. Because guess what? You can only live in this moment, in this day. If you are constantly looking forward or constantly looking back, but in this case, constantly looking forward to that end goal, there is no way that you're going to be in this moment, living in this moment, and enjoying the day that you are actually living in. Yeah, when the goal comes, that's exciting, that's fun, that's wonderful. And you need to be able to live in that moment. So why not practice living in each moment until you get there? Right? That's what lagging feedback, that's what, I mean, honestly, that's the greatest part of lagging feedback. There's so much learning to be done in the concept of lagging feedback. It teaches us to live in the moment. It teaches us to love the process. It teaches us to break down a big goal into smaller pieces that we can manage daily or weekly, and gives us the opportunity to really celebrate those small wins every day, because those small wins are the things that are going to add up to that day when we hit that goal. And as we move through the days, as we enjoy the process, as we live in the moment, as we check off those small wins towards that bigger win, we will find our next goal. Because, oh, isn't it the worst? I mean, it's kind of like coming to the end of a really great book. Those of you who love to read like I do, you come to the end of a really great book and you go, you shut it and you go, oh, so glad I got to the end of that book. I got to get to the great part. It was fantastic. I knew it would be. And then in the next breath, you go, shoot, I'm done with that book. I knew it would be great, but I forgot. I forgot that when that book is over, I don't have another book. I was so into that. We don't want you to be in that position when it comes to the goals that you have set for yourself in life, right? If it's getting a pull-up goal, or fat loss, your fat loss journey, or maybe it has something to do with your business, or maybe it has something to do with a project at work. What we don't want you to do is come to the end of that goal and hit that goal and be excited, and then stand there in the moment after the excitement wears off and not know what to do next. And then that feeling of disappointment, that feeling of, I don't know what to do, that feeling of loneliness or loss. We don't need that, because as we are going through the process of living in each moment, enjoying, learning to enjoy or love the process, responding to the little bits of lagging feedback that come back at us, as we're doing those things, guess what? We're going to hit that goal. We're going to celebrate that goal, but we will have realized along the way, not only did we hit some great targets as we got there, but we found glimmers of new big goals that we want to achieve. And so all of a sudden we're done celebrating that big win where we got the pull up, or, we hit a certain, project deadline and it's exciting and everybody loves it. And then we go, okay. And we take some of that energy and we feed it right back into our next project, our next goal, right? So lagging feedback is a great learning tool if we come to it in the right mindset, and we come to it in the space of, I know that the daily work I put in, I know that the weekly work that I put in toward that goal, if I am in the moment, if I'm right there and I put that work in and I just put my head down and I do the work and I enjoy it while I'm there, I know eventually that is going to come back to me. I'm going to get that great feedback. Eventually, I will get there, but I have to stay in the moment and do the things. Lagging feedback is an extremely important concept that we need to be aware of, right? Because it's there, because we experience it all the time. It's important if we're going to improve our quality of life and improve our mental health and probably physical health too, right? They're connected. But importantly, mental health is to understand what lagging feedback is, understand the concept and see it when it's coming at us and we're feeling negative about it, and to be able to go, hey, time out. I know what this is. I know I'm just feeling a certain way because I'm not getting the immediate feedback that I want. So what can I do when I'm kind of in that lag time between getting the feedback I need and want, and that having it and not having it? What do I do? And there's where you get to dig in, live your life, learn to enjoy the process and do the things and enjoy it while you're doing it. So whatever journey you're on, whatever goal you have, whether it is a fat loss goal, whether it is in a performance goal, whether, I mean, seriously, apply this to your work life, apply this to your relationships, right? Whatever those big things are that you're striving for, while you are on your journey, pay attention. Pay attention to the feedback that you're getting and the feedback that you want but aren't getting yet, and learn to let go of that negative and look at that lagging feedback as something that's going to teach you to live in the moment, enjoy the process, and live your life better and feel better. If you have questions about lagging feedback, if you have questions about maybe you're concerned that it's not lagging feedback, you're just not doing the right things, and that can happen. Maybe you need to reset and pivot. Let me know. I would love to talk to you about helping you kind of reach those goals and work every day, small steps toward those goals, and live a better life. Take the basics, move yourself beyond the basics, and reach those nice, big, audacious goals that you have. Thank you for joining me in episode 16, Lagging Feedback. If you have thoughts, ideas, or comments, please drop them in the comment section. If there are some topics you would like me to address, I would absolutely do that. So please like, comment, share with people you love and like, and even don't like, I don't even care, and subscribe to the podcast so I can continue to send the message out there, hopefully affect positive, wonderful change in people, and help you get the feedback that you need to have a successful, wonderful, happy life.